Hi guys, welcome to the channel. It's your girl, Savannah Smiles. So today's video is actually not clickbait. I am a college dropout turned YouTuber. I know, so original, so revolutionary. Oh my gosh, wow, you've never heard of that before. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Macy. I'm 22 years old and I would be graduating college this spring had I not, dropped out. I post YouTube videos and I started my channel January of 2020, but before that I'd been a long time YouTube fan. I am a lifestyle channel that kind of touches on finance every once in a while. I recently hit $100,000 net worth and I kind of attribute that to years of saving, investing, and dropping out of college. Last month I did a video talking about my years of saving and investing and everything that went into that, but I felt it was time to talk about the third part of that equation, which is dropping out. And before you ask, no, I did not drop out of college to do YouTube. I didn't even have a channel then. I also want to preface that I'm not like one of those,
oh, you should only go to college if you're going to become a doctor or a lawyer
type people, because there's so many other reasons to go to college and so many other careers that is totally necessary for. So like off the top of my head, I think teachers, nurses, engineers. I know there's a lot of different types, I just don't know them. Accountants, and no, not that type of accountant. There's a lot of reasons and a lot of careers that it's totally necessary to go to college, and I'm not discrediting that at all. I totally am with you on that. But I do believe it is 10,000% ridiculous that we expect a whole bunch of 17 and 18-year-olds who still have to ask to use the restroom to choose a career path and sign themselves onto tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands and many, many amounts of debt. Wow, my brain's really working today. Jeez. I can tell you right now that where I thought I would go at age 17 and 18 is so different than where I actually ended up. And for whatever reason, I really sincerely doubt that I'm the only one. So my first 2 years of high school, I was one of those,
I'm going to Cal State all 4 years. I'm getting away from my mom and dad. I'm gonna live out independently and I'm gonna put myself in this debt because I know what I want for myself in the future.
But my junior year, I had some friends who were older than me who were now in their freshman and sophomore year of college, and my perspective on going right away to a 4-year university started to kind of change a little bit. There was kind of two conversations that stuck out of my head. I remember one with one of my older friends where she was telling me, everybody switches majors all the time. It's such a hassle to do. And then another one with that same friend who ended up telling me that she switched majors, but she was really bummed because some of the classes she had taken towards her old major wouldn't help her on anything for getting her new degree in her new major. From those two conversations, two things really stuck with me. First of all, those classes that she ended up taking and wouldn't help her towards getting her new degree were outrageously expensive, and she essentially just kind of wasted the money because it's not going to be helping her towards her new degree, and now she had to catch up on other classes. So the cost of that was just outrageous and stuck with me. And the second thing is she was one of my friends that was so well put together and always seemed so sure that she was going into this career and this is what she was going to do. And then when she switched, I kind of felt like I wasn't sure on what I wanted to do. She was my friend who always seemed like she knew exactly what she wanted for her life. If she didn't know, there was no way I knew. I kind of started to question whether I really wanted to go off to a 4-year right away. As we've all seen, there's some people who find their career, get a job, then stay at that job until they retire, and they're happy doing that. And then there's also some other people who end up going through several career paths, switching jobs all the time, and they're happy doing that. And I didn't know which one I was either, so I didn't want to get a degree for something that maybe I'd want to switch my career paths in 4 years from then, because I didn't really know if I was going to be the type to just stay in one career for the rest of my life. My senior year, everything had completely flipped from my first 2 years, and I was set on going to community college for the first 2 years and then transferring out. I figured this way I was really, really unsure on what I wanted to do, and this would allow me to switch majors very easily. If I ended up not choosing a specific major, the worst cost I would lose is like $150 versus putting myself thousands of dollars more into debt with these classes that wouldn't help me. But before you click out of this video, I did not drop out of community college. I actually finished it, then I transferred out. I lived with my parents at this time, which was such a blessing to save money on rent. But besides saving money on like rent. I paid for all of my own other bills, including schooling, so naturally I was working at this time. My job at the time was working as an HR assistant, and I knew that I had a pretty good chance of getting myself a pay bump or a promotion if I started to pursue a BA in business with an emphasis in human resource management. So I ended up applying to a university. I got in and I transferred over my credits, and then I started their online BA program. Not too soon after that, I ended up getting that promotion I was hoping for, so I went from being an HR assistant to being an HR specialist. The job kind of took me from doing like lower level HR stuff to just doing the typical HR things, you know, the payroll, the hiring, the terminations, audits, checking for compliance that like all of our federal posters and items like that were up to date in every single one of our work sites. Pretty standard stuff. It was good on a day-to-day basis, but I kind of started to realize I didn't want to do this long term. After a little bit of doing it, I started to realize this wasn't my forever job, and at this point I kind of started to realize I was spending a lot of time and a lot of money working on getting a degree for a job I knew I didn't want to stay in. This degree was going to work best in human resources because it had an emphasis in human resources, but I didn't want to work in human resources for the rest of my life. Everything was fine, and then, you know, as you get a new job and get promoted, there's tasks. You aren't given all your tasks at once, but when I took over hiring and took over more of the payroll, it definitely just completely impacted my decision to drop out. So with hiring, I noticed that our company, even for office positions or ones that were out in the field, that degrees didn't matter very much to the managers, and how many people out there had degrees. There was a lot of the times I was looking at resumes and just everybody had a BA, and it didn't make anyone stand out anymore. And the hiring managers, the managers that I was hiring the positions for, they didn't really care about the degree. They wanted somebody with so long of experience that had these certain skills. They didn't really care about the degree, and it definitely weighed heavier to have experience than a degree, and that made you stand out more. So I started to realize that maybe this degree wasn't like my one-way ticket into a perfect job in the future. Taking over payroll showed me that during our busy season, there was people that were lower down in the company that were making more money than our highest paid executives. And I was also seeing people who were lower than me in the company who had a higher hourly rate and got way more overtime than I did, so they were making significantly more than I was. Calculating and processing those pay periods showed me I was doing something wrong. I had always been wanting to make more money in a career I found more fulfilling, and I realized I wasn't going to be happy in this position. I didn't want to spend the rest of my life doing paperwork, working the hours that somebody else dictated for me, and making someone else's dream a reality. I was also spending over half of what I was making for a degree that was most applicable in a job field that I knew I didn't want to be in. I had always wanted a job where I could work my own hours, where I could be really creative, and my pay was determined on the amount of effort and time I put into it. A few months after getting promoted, I realized I wasn't going to find this job unless I made it for myself. And by that I mean work for myself. So I dropped out. I waited a few weeks, and then I told my boyfriend, and then I told my parents, and they were actually really supportive of me. I knew I had a clock until my work would figure out that I dropped out, so I gave myself that time and said I had to find something that I loved. I had no idea then, but just a short few months later, I would find that perfect job through content creation and posting videos on YouTube. I had no idea that this is where I would end up and this is where I would be my happiest and find my perfect career, but I had always loved editing silly little videos for my siblings and I, and filming, and I had a lot of really good teachers around me who saw a lot of potential in me to be able to make my own channel and to do well at it. After some pushing, I finally did it, and I made my first video and I posted it on January 1st of 2020, and I kept going. I loved it so much I didn't want to stop. I continued to get better at filming and editing and just the overall process of creating content. And with my luck, due to everything that was going on worldwide in 2020, I got laid off from my job and I got the opportunity to try doing YouTube full time, and I'm never going back to the corporate world. So really, the one sentence answer on why I dropped out of college is I knew I was wasting money on a degree that wouldn't matter to my future boss because I was going to be my future boss. Anyways, that's the video. If anyone else has ever dropped out, I'd be so curious to hear your reasons down below. I feel like typically you see because somebody got some kind of a crazy job that didn't require like a degree or something is the typical reason why you see people drop out. That wasn't really the case for me. I feel like mine was a little bit more unique. I didn't have anything going at the time, but I really just kind of trusted myself. So I'd be super curious to see if there's anyone else out there like me, or if you're not, let me know down below. And I have my Amazon affiliate page down below where you can see all of my merch equipment, stuff to do, like even my gel nails, and all that stuff is going to be down below. I got my Instagram down below, so if you want to go follow me on there and see more of my day-to-day life, see my cat, my dog, all that fun stuff, that's down below. And with that said, don't forget to end the video